This video is brought to you by the Deck of Mini and their Big Bad Booklet series. Hello and welcome back to The Gallant Goblin. Our video playlist here at The Gallant Goblin is full of some amazing, highly detailed, and in some cases, massive minis. Most of them have something in common though. They're kind of pricey. When I first started out, I was using coins, I was using minis I grabbed from some board games back here, like Shadows of Brimstone, which is over here, and Last Night on Earth, just whatever I could find. Building up a collection of minis can be an expensive endeavor, and if you're in high school or college or just struggling to provide for yourself and your family during these hard times, dropping a couple of $100 on cases of pre-painted minis just isn't an option. I've always said almost everything we review on this channel is just an aid to help your imagination. All you need to have fun is some friends and some dice. Everything else is gravy. But if you do want to start a mini collection without taking on a second or third job, this may be a great place to start. If you've ever looked for minis on Amazon, you've probably seen this. This box is called Adventure Terrain Fantasy Creatures, and it contains 98 total minis and 14 unique sculpts, and it's just $24.95. That's about as cheap as you're ever going to find minis. The company who makes these sets, SCS Direct, was kind enough to send us this set to review and also offered up one for us to give as a giveaway. To enter, just be a subscriber and leave me a comment down below telling me about the silliest or most creative thing you've ever used in place of a mini. Also, stay tuned to the end of this video to see the winners of our giveaway from the Polukranos video, which you can see by clicking the eye in the corner of your screen. They win digital copies of our very own Grey Merchant of Asphodel Magic Item Supplement for the D&D campaign setting book Mythic Odysseys of Theros. You can see that over on dmsguild.com right now. But for now, let's open up this set of minis and see how we can use them in our games. Here's everything included in the set. There are indeed 14 unique sculpts of various sizes, and you get 7 of each. 4 will be cast in a light gray plastic, and the other 3 will be in dark gray. Let's take a quick look at the individual sculpts. None of them are named specifically, so this is just what I'm calling them. First, you get a fighter, a minotaur, an archer, and an orc. You'll note that many of these figures are larger than your typical D&D or Pathfinder minis. We'll see these comparisons in just a minute. I know some folks are very adamant about having minis that are the correct size, so keep that in mind when you're looking at these. You're going to need to be a little bit flexible with this set. Next, you get a disco dancing wizard, a surprised looking skeleton, a bored and plump Ettin, a fairy, and a dwarf. There are no standard bases for these figures. Each one is a bit different, so the size category that might fall under in D&D or Pathfinder rules is kind of up in the air. They feel pretty substantial and heavy in your hand, and they're probably more durable than your average mini, partly due to just being larger. Next, we have a prancing unicorn, a yuan-ti-looking snake creature, and a centaur. All the figures arrived in good shape, but some of the unicorns were a little bit bent, as you can see here. Just like all the minis we see, this can be fixed by running it under some hot water to loosen it up a little bit, then setting it in the correct position and dunking it in some ice water. Finally, we have a large-sized dragon and griffin. The large size of the dragon would make it a young dragon under D&D rules, or an adolescent or adult under Pathfinder rules, depending on which type of dragon it is. Painting a set of unpainted minis can bring them to life, so I took half an hour or so and gave one of the orcs a quick paint job so you can imagine how the set might look if you decide to paint it yourself. I just started with a black spray primer and then gave it a quick base coat painting. I didn't use any washes or dry brushing. The figures are rather smooth, so the dry brushing wouldn't have much to catch on to. Overall, I think he looks pretty good, though, for just a quick paint job. Since we primarily look at D&D and Pathfinder minis here at the Gallant Goblin, let's see how the sizes and sculpts compare to our existing pre-painted minis. Let's start with the dwarf, which is actually sized pretty well to blend in with your existing characters. You could certainly paint your 7 dwarves up using a slightly different paint scheme for each to have a troop of dwarves for your encounters in Mirabar, Craghammer, Snow White's Cottage, or the like. Now, the fighter and the disco dancing wizard are going to be a little bit harder to add to your games if you're mixing them with other RPG minis. But if you're just starting out and you don't have an existing collection, it's certainly more thematic than using coins. They could also be used for statues or enlarged versions of the characters. The archer is also quite big and might be better utilized as an Amazonian statue type thing or an enlarged PC. The centaur is somewhat larger than the medium-sized centaurs that were made playable in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, but the centaur monster stat block from the basic rules indicates that it's a large, so I think this one is perfectly usable. The Minotaur is also somewhat larger than your regular medium, but again, Minotaurs also have a large stat block, so this figure could represent either a PC or a monster without stretching your imagination too much. Our Dragon Mini doesn't look very imposing, but you can certainly use him for a young dragon. I might recommend using him as a metallic dragon due to his friendly stance. The Snake Person works quite well as a Yuan-Ti actually. It's just about the same size as the Yuan-Ti Abomination from Storm King's Thunder. So if you need a bunch for your Tomb of Annihilation adventures, this can be a cheap way to fill out your ranks. The large-sized Griffin is also a good size match for our existing D&D Griffins, and again, if you give them a subtle differences in their paint jobs, you can have quite a flock of them with this set. The Orc is also somewhat larger than our usual minis, but not so much so that he completely stands out from the others. His pose is a little less terrifying, but if you need a bunch of Orcs, you could certainly do worse. The Ettin here is actually a little bit undersized compared to its large stat block in D&D and Pathfinder, but this would be an excellent young Ettin mini. The skeleton is certainly bigger than your average skeleton, but sometimes large creatures get raised as skeletons too, like our Minotaur skeleton here. So this could certainly represent the skeleton of a larger creature. What about a group of enlarged Duergar skeletons, perhaps? The Unicorn is also a good size for D&D or Pathfinder, if a tad big. I rather wish he didn't have a horn, as we tend to more often need regular horses than unicorns, but you could certainly use these as horses with a bit of suspension of disbelief. Finally, we have our Fairy, which is quite large indeed. I wasn't able to think of a suitable use for this in your regular TTRPG games. If you have some ideas, leave them for me in the comment section down below. Perhaps a fancifully dressed gnome. Of course, these minis probably aren't going to be high on the list for folks who already have a large mini collection or who want the top of the line, detailed, and expertly painted minis. But one of my goals with this channel is to try to highlight options at all price points so that everyone can find something within their budget to add a little extra fun to their games. This set is a perfectly fine option to get started in the mini biz. You'll at least have a bunch of perfectly usable dwarves, orcs, griffins, young dragons, centaurs, Yuan-Ti, and minotaurs. The set ended up being better than I expected it to be. It's also a good set to practice your painting skills on if you don't want to risk your more expensive unpainted minis. SCS Direct also has a number of other packs as well, though they're not all as well suited to a D&D or Pathfinder campaign as this set was. There's another fantasy set with a Cerberus, a wolf, a frog creature, and a long-headed lizard folk, among other things. There's a zombie one with some not-so-scary zombies and some gravestones. You have a horror-themed one with mummies, spiders, vampires, and other movie monsters, and a sci-fi one with a number of different kinds of robots. Each set is between $20 and $25, and there's more too. Just search SCS Direct on Amazon to see what's available. So I'm curious to hear what you think of this set in the comments section down below, and don't forget to enter our giveaway to win a set for yourself or to give to a friend who may be starting their collection. To enter, just be a subscriber and leave me a comment telling me about something fun that you used in place of a mini in your games. And now to the winners of our giveaway from the Polukranos video. They win a digital copy of Grady's Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Our winners are Michael Wheeler, Beneful, and David McSwain. Drop us an email at thegallantgoblin@gmail.com to claim your prize. If you're interested in checking the book out, you can find the link in the video description down below. And thank you to our sponsor for this video, The Deck of Mini. The Big Bad Booklet is a monthly zine by The Deck of Mini about boss monsters for 5th edition. This month, come meet Zeliphastrina, a beautiful and dangerous succubus trapped in a crumbling wizard's tower. Will you get lured into her deadly embrace? Learn more and subscribe today at bigbadbooklet.com. Thank you for watching today. We have all sorts of interesting things to show you at all price points over the next few weeks. Be sure to be a subscriber so you don't miss anything. Join the conversation on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm a bit behind on replying to your comments here on YouTube, but I'm working to catch up. That's my goal for the week. But otherwise, I hope you're doing well. Keep playing safe out there, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.